guys, my name is Jessica, but if you've been a regular on my channel, you'll know me by my online alias Aphmau, or just by looking at my channel name, you can tell that. This is my Draw My Life. Now, I've been very nervous about doing this because I have a few things about me that a lot of you guys don't really know about. Plus, I'm not the best at drawing, but I'm gonna give it my best shot. So, here it goes. My story begins in Houston, Texas. I was born on October 16th, 1989, which makes me 25 years old to this day. I was born to a wonderful mom and dad and a half-brother, but I just call him my brother because he's that cool. For the first couple of years of my life, my mom and dad were married, but after a lot of differences, they decided to separate. Looking back on it, it was probably for the best. My mom then moved in with my grandparents. Her sister also lived there too at the time. So I lived in a house with a bunch of cousins and my brother. My mom and dad shared custody of me, so every other weekend I would go to live with my dad, which was nice because I got to get away from a hectic house every now and then. My brother and I were 13 years apart, so we didn't really play a lot together growing up. He was going through his teen years, and it's kind of hard for a toddler to understand that. But the one thing he did have was this awesome Nintendo. I always remember bugging him to play it because it was the coolest thing to me. Of course, he would often tell me no, but my mom would let me sneak into his room to play it when he was out. If my brother's watching this, sorry. Of course, the best times with him were when he invited me to play, and we'd play together and try to see who could beat Super Mario first. Eventually, my other cousins in the house all got gaming consoles, and I was so interested. Of course, being the smaller one and the only young girl in the house, they weren't so keen on sharing their new toys, which eventually they did, but I never got to finish any game I played because someone was always saving over my file. Eventually, my mom moved back in with my dad for a period of time, and during that time was when I got my first ever gaming console. I remember the day so vividly too. My parents took me to Best Buy, and they didn't tell me why we were there. They just said they needed to get something, and then my dad suddenly covered my eyes and said, "Your mom and I have a surprise for you, daughter." They walked me a bit, and when my dad removed his hands from my eyes, I was standing in front of a Nintendo 64 case that had so many Nintendo 64s inside of it. I was so excited I started to cry. I remember getting it, bringing it home, and my parents hilariously arguing over how to install AVI cables, and then my mom doing a dance when she got lucky by mistake and figured it out. I'll never forget that day. Gaming makes a huge part of who I am. In elementary school, I made a lot of friends, and a lot of them were made by talking about video games. A lot of people would say I was too nice back then. In fact, I would give people my lunch money if they forgot theirs, and a lot of kids noticed this. They kind of took advantage of this fact, which sadly led to some bullying, and I guess because of that, I became introverted over time. But that didn't last too long as I kept making friends. In middle school, I became really introverted because around the events of September 11th, my dad pulled me out of school in order to be homeschooled, which was really kind of fun, but actually very lonely. Eventually, I went back into public school after a year, and around the time I was leaving middle school for high school, I got into online gaming. In fact, the first game I played online was on the PlayStation 2, and it was called Frequency. It was really just a glorified chat room where you could beat battle people if you wanted. Imagine Guitar Hero, but online, and with a PlayStation 2 controller. It was fun, and I played more games over time, but the one game that changed my life forever was Final Fantasy XI Online. I started playing in 2004. In Final Fantasy XI, I had so many adventures and met so many amazing people. The world was just immersive, and just everything about that game to me was perfect. One day, I had joined a party to get the summoner job, and during that party, I met this warrior, whose name I would later find out was Jason. He was really cool, so we started talking, and we talked pretty much every day. Eventually, our relationship went past Final Fantasy XI and into the real world. We became boyfriend and girlfriend, talked on the phone every day, and would make these crazy trips since he lived in New Jersey and I lived in Texas. When I turned 18, I finally moved out to be with Jason. Then we got a sweet little kitten. You guys know him as Johnny, the little tuxedo cat that we have. Some years later, we got a little apartment together, and then I started to attend college. Of course, our gaming habit never changed. We both enjoyed video games and always played every new game that came out together. Or if one of us didn't like the game but the other did, we would watch the other play while the other one played Final Fantasy Online. Yes, we've both been playing Final Fantasy Online forever. During this time, we were very much into YouTube and watching other YouTubers such as the Yogscast, Jesse Cox, Total Biscuit, and a few others. Then, in 2012, I had found out we were pregnant with a baby, the exact same year Jason was planning to propose to me. Jason and I decided to get married sooner than expected, and it was the best wedding ever. It was at Disney World, and they really make sure it's magical. Anyway, we decided to move from our apartment into a new house that we had been saving for. It was awesome. At the same time we were waiting for the baby in our off time, we would watch YouTube. We thought it was super cool how people could make a career off their favorite hobby, and we thought it would be something really fun to look into. Since I was planning on being a stay-at-home mom, I could do a lot of the busy work and personal side of YouTube, and Jason could do the tech side. It was a really cool idea that we thought we could do and enjoy together. Then, in July, I gave birth to our son via C-section. Originally, I wanted to have our son all natural, no meds, but because of a medical issue, I had no choice, which I really didn't mind since I didn't have my heart set on anything. I was more so of a go-with-the-flow kind of gal. Anyway, we were adjusting to being new parents, and boy, it was really hectic and difficult. But eventually, we got the hang of it, and we're still kind of learning, but it's a work in progress. Then Jason and I decided to pursue YouTube. It would serve as something we could do together for fun, and maybe if we were lucky, it could turn to something bigger. We started our channel with a few friends, but because of personal real-life issues, they had to leave, and now it's just me and Jason. But I remember the first YouTube video I did, I was still recovering from being C-sectioned, so every time I laughed, it hurt so bad. But I still recorded, and it was incredibly fun. I could ignore the pain. Then, around the time we had launched the series Iron and Coal, we had also made an Iron and Coal server. Then we found out I was pregnant again. It's really hard trying to keep up with a YouTube channel, being a full-time parent, and a server as well, so we had to abandon the server, sad to say. Then, in January 2014, I gave birth to our baby girl. Again, C-sectioned, which means I was recording videos in utter pain for quite a while. Bet you didn't know that. But YouTube is a major part of who I am, who Jason and I are today, and we wouldn't be here without you guys. You are all a very, very special part of our lives, and even though we may not be able to see each other or talk very often, I want you guys to know you are all so special to me, to us, which is why I feel comfortable drawing my life for you. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope we're together for many years to come. From my family to you, to yours, and to who you care about, thank you guys. Thank you all for everything. I hope you enjoyed this.